Is there a bond between Rachmaninov and Ramins? Well, I'll tell you, when I originally put them together, there wasn't necessarily. I'll tell you what the problem is when you commission a new work, one that's half a program like this Ramins piece. You have to plan far in advance what the companion piece is going to be, but you don't know what the companion piece can be because you don't know what the commission piece is going to be like. So you're really guessing. And so I guess the first real connection between Ramins and Rachmaninov was the alliteration of their names, starting with R. And then the more I thought about it, I thought about the richness of the Russian sound of the Rachmaninov and the richness of the Ramins pieces that we have done before, that we've known from the past, and thought that that no matter what Imant wrote for the new piece, that it would fit with Rachmaninov. And then I found that I was working on the printed program, and I noticed that Rachmaninov died in 1943, and that Ramins was born in 1943. And I thought, oh, it was inevitable. I don't think that I had planned the Rachmaninov yet. That was my my attempt to find something to fit the future Ramins work. And the theme of the piece was brotherhood, and is brotherhood, in two senses. In the sense of universal brotherhood, but also in the sense of personal, of brothers. And that theme he had a working title of something like the Songs of Brotherhood, and it just didn't seem like a very interesting title, and I happened upon some little poem which used the phrase "the mystical bond," and I ran it past Imant, and he liked it immediately, and that's where the title came from. So we have 6 movements, 6 languages, 6 different poems in 6 languages. And there were 6 of these commissioned works for our 40th anniversary commissions, and we premiered 3 of them last season and 3 of them this season. This is the 6th one, and the languages thing came because of the funding for the commissions. Came from the Arts Partners in Creative Development, which was part of the flurry of arts funding that happened around the Olympics. And so it was our idea, and we suggested to the 6 composers that they consider doing a work in all of the official Olympic languages. Those are English, French, German, Spanish, and Russian. And then we said, oh, what the hell, it's Vancouver, so we threw Mandarin in as well. And that's where those 6 languages came from. And only 2 of the composers decided that they would do these sort of macaronic texts with the 6 languages, and that was Stephen Chapman and Imant Ramins. I have, in almost all of those languages, I have somebody who is experienced in singing or speaking that language, and I ask that singer to coach the others. We, of course, work on a more general basis. We'll take some tapes of the texts and distribute them to everything, but we really rely on the coaches from within the singers, and it works very well. It's for those languages, it's easy. We have people in the choir who can do it. The choir has a very long relationship with the Imant Raminsh. And it started back in 1967, I believe, or 68. Both of those years I was a graduate student in musicology at the University of British Columbia Music School. And Imant was there as well, as I think as a composition student. And we used to meet in the library where we had study carols in the library there. And one day he came along and handed me a piece and said, "Would you take a look at this?" And I said, "Well, I'd be happy to." And then it sat on my desk for a long period of time. And then I picked it up and read it through and said, "Oh, what a great piece this is." And it was the Ave Verum Corpus. And so we were doing a broadcast for CBC. It was an in-studio broadcast, and it was going to be all Canadian composers. And this became one of the pieces. And after that, we did lots more of his music, and then he wrote more music for us. And people heard us do it, and now, at one time, it was my goal to have sung every piece that he wrote, and now there's no way. He's way ahead of me. But if I keep working at it, maybe I'll get there. Imant will be in attendance on Friday, and and he's going to be interviewed by John Trotter, our assistant conductor. He's going to be interviewed during the pre-concert talk in the Orpheum. So I would suggest that those of you that are coming to the concert come early. I think that starts at 7:05 or something like that. And it's a wonderful chance to meet the composer of the work, and he's a very warm, affable chap. The name is Latvian, and he was actually born in Latvia, but came as an infant to Canada and grew up in Toronto, did his initial studies at the conservatory there, and now he's a world-renowned composer. The Rachmaninov comes out of a movement in Russia to Russianize church music. It had become quite European, I think, and they wanted to get rid of some of those references and encourage composers to write music that was based on the old Russian chants. Rachmaninov is really the culmination of this, and he has two main works. One is the all-night Vigil, which is also known as the Vespers, and that is the most famous work. But some 5 years before that, he wrote the present work, which is known as the Liturgy of St. John Chrysostom, and it's the most active of the most used of the liturgies. Liturgy in the Russian sense means like Mass does in the Catholic Church. So so this is an earlier work, and I think that it has the same richness of tone color I don't think that it's sung as frequently as the all-night vigil, but should be heard more frequently, and that's why we're glad to do it. And it fits for a Good Friday concert. It has a resonance. We don't make our Good Friday concerts specifically liturgical, but sometimes it works out that way, and it's very nice. The performing forces are the Vancouver Chamber Choir and two other choirs, the Vancouver Cantata Singers and Pacifica Singers. And those two choirs are joining us for the Rachmaninov, which is a cappella. That'll be the first half of the concert. And then in the second half, the piece is written for small choir and small orchestra, so we'll be joined by our own orchestra, the Vancouver Chamber Orchestra, and just the Vancouver Chamber Choir for that second half of the concert, the title piece, The Mystical Bond. We really are celebrating two events, or marking two events, maybe would be a better way of saying it. The first is celebrating the 40th anniversary of the choir. And we're going to be hosting a large number of people who've worked for the choir as volunteer board members and staff members and over the last 40 years, and they're going to be there at the concert, so that's going to be very special. We are also very concerned about what's been happening in Japan. Because the choir has a very close relationship with Japan. We've been there several times and performed. We are the sister choir to the main professional choir in Tokyo, the Tokyo Philharmonic Chorus. We are twinned as sister choirs. And so we have very close relationships to people in Japan. And so we wanted to be able to help in some way. And so we are going to mark the occasion by asking our audience to join with us in donating funds to assist in the rebuilding efforts in Japan. And to that end, I'll just be speaking a little bit at the beginning of the concert, and then as people leave for intermission and after the concert, we'll be asking for donations. So this is a kind of last-minute addition to our agenda, but we thought it was very important to do because of the way that we feel about our friends in Japan. And this concert is on Good Friday, which is April 22nd, at the Orpheum Theater in downtown Vancouver. And tickets are available from Ticketmaster or at the door, but I recommend that you get your ticket early. And we hope to see you there.